I'm Brendan. We're at the Thomas Churnside Kitchen Garden here. I look after the garden with the help of the children from grade 3 through to grade 6 who come out and help me regularly. Originally the garden was put here to combat health problems associated with poor food choices. As a school committee, they decided that they would like to go down the path of joining the Stephanie Alexander Kitchen Garden Foundation. And the idea being that the children grow the food, that they then harvest the food, they then go into the kitchen, which is behind me, and they prepare the food. It's a well-known fact that if children grow the food, that they're much more likely to eat it themselves, and it's very rare that a child won't try something new. Just this last couple of weeks, I've introduced, conservatively I would say, 80 children to their first fig. And maybe of those 80 children, there was perhaps 10 who thought, no, I don't like that. They're learning to be adventurous with their food, sometimes a little bit too adventurous. We do have chilies in the garden, and it's not uncommon for particularly a young boy to think that he's pretty macho and want to eat one of those chilies. But we've got milk on site and those boys have all recovered. In the garden we have about approximately 50 fruit trees, 30 garden beds, 7 chooks, an aquaponics system, compost systems, worm farms, basically anything that you might imagine you'd find in a children's food garden we will have here. I'm very fortunate to have the help of some wonderful volunteers who help me. One previous volunteer loved composting. He was in charge of the compost. We have a little food bin in each classroom. The children will bring over their scraps after lunch and after snack, their apple cores, their half-eaten sandwiches, their banana peels, and we will compost it back into the garden. When you're continually taking things out of a garden, like the food, you're continually stripping of it of its nutrients, you need to put that back in. And the best way to do that is in compost. I guess a lot of those children, they don't have access to those food experiences that I had as a child. Many times grandparents will live some distance away, and going around to see granddad in his vegetable garden is not a reality for many children. I was fortunate in that my grandparents, both sets of my grandparents, lived a very short distance from where I grew up. I was able to generate those food memories. So I guess I'm playing that role for many of the children, that they're getting those fond food memories, those childhood memories now. They're getting them at school rather than in their grandparents' backyard. And I think that's an important part of living.